can. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Planning Board meeting of November 7th, 2017. And we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have any appointment of alternates this evening?
I don't think we have any alternates.
No, it's okay. Roll call of members present. Michael Croto, Vice Chair.
Joe Blanchett, member.
Kimberly Queenan, clerk.
Tyler Perrin, member.
Steve Perry, Selectman Rep.
Okay.
Dave Samuel, member.
Oh, thank you, Dave. Dave is with us on speakerphone this evening. We do have a physical quorum present, and so that should give us the opportunity to proceed with business. Okay. Before I begin or go into public input, I just want to say a few words. This is a very sad day for the Planning Board of Litchfield. Our chair, Tom Young, passed away. I believe it was a week. Was it a
Week and a half
week
ago.
and a half ago? It was unexpected. We did not expect anything like this. I will say that Tom was a man that was jovial. He was a good friend to all of us. He supported us in the town of Litchfield, and we are going to be very, very saddened by his passing. I think he's going to be greatly missed. He was a great guy, and he truly was someone who believed in this town and believed in its vision, and it's very sad that he's not here tonight. But I think we're going to carry on in his absence and hopefully carry on as he would wanted it to be, knowing Tom. I just wanted to just take a moment of silence for Tom Young, the chair. Tom, wherever you are, I hope your spirit is with us tonight. Very good. Okay. Public input. Is there anybody from the public who wishes to address the board? If you do wish to address the board, I would just ask that you come forward and sit at the table and provide us your name and information. Okay. There being no public input, I will close public input for this evening. The first item on the agenda this evening is a sign application for owner lot 88 LLC map 2 lot 88-35 for entrance of Callaway Court off Page Road. Is the applicant present this evening? No applicant. Okay. Well, all right. We'll defer this one. If they do show up this evening, we'll get to that
I couldn't get
later.
posted on the site, the plan. Posted it.
The second item of business this evening has to do with Tim and Dale Aria at 40 Louise Drive, map 5, lot 86, and Parkland Estate Cooperative, Inc. at 31 Page Road, map 5, lot 75, requesting a lot line adjustment to transfer 1,920 square feet from map 5, lot 86 to map 5, lot 75. Is the applicant present this evening? Would you please come up and sit here before the table, at the table, and announce yourselves?
First of all, I'm sorry to hear about your loss. It's very sad. My name is Peter Weeks. I'm employed with T.F. Bernier, which is located on 50 Pleasant Street in Concord, New Hampshire. I'm in front of the board tonight with a lot line adjustment plan involving land, just to correct the planning board agenda, it's actually Roy and Dale Herrera, so not Tim, okay. So anyway, we're presenting you a lot line adjustment plan involving the land of Roy and Dale Herrera, which is map 5, lot 86, and the land of Parkland Estate Cooperative being map 5, lot 75, which is, the smaller lot is lot 86, the bigger lot is lot 75, which is to the right. Back in September 13th, we met with the Zoning Board of Adjustment for 2 separate variances, one for lot area for the Herrera's lot, and the other for building setback for Parkland's lot. These variances needed to be granted in order to present this plan to you tonight. The Zoning Board approved both variances and are stated as Note 6 on this plan that we are presenting you tonight. We are proposing to adjust the lot line between lot 75 and 86. We adjusted the lot line westerly, which is shown on that plan, that area that's in orange, westerly by 10 feet, even all the way, frontage in the back. And it's shown as parcel A on the plan. This area is 1,920 square feet, which is being transferred from lot 86, the Herreras, to lot 75, Parkland. The purpose of this adjustment is so that the mobile homes will all be on their property and will no longer be encroaching onto lot 86. This encroachment has been an issue for many years, so we're here to clean it up. Both lots are in the residential district. With the 2 granted variances, both lots meet the zoning requirements for this zone. The shed and the canvas carport that are still encroaching will need to be moved. I did hear from one of the members of the Parkland Cooperative that apparently the canvas carport is going to be taken out pretty soon. I guess somebody's transferring one of those mobile homes. We have requested waivers for both lots. We performed a detailed survey within the area, and we felt doing the topo, the wetlands, locating abutting properties within 100 feet would not be really required for this type of situation. We also requested a reduction of the engineering escrow fee from $5,000 to $500. As no construction is involved, it's pretty simple. That's about it. That completes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions the board.
Okay. Thank you very much. First, what we usually do in these particular applications is to first accept the application for its completeness. So we want to make sure that all the information that is needed to accept the application has been submitted to this board, and to confirm that all butters have been notified and fees paid in escrow, and to confirm that the signatures and seals of the registered surveyor, engineer, or architect are made available, and the signed application is received. Jen, as our support person, yes.
Saving grace.
Circuit rider. Excuse me. Do we have everything that is needed to complete this application this evening?
I have all of the kind of the checklist items. I would confirm with Joan on the originals with seals and fees. And So I have my pieces. I'd confirm
Your pieces.
with Joan that she's got her pieces.
Had the abutters notified and fees have been paid.
Okay, good, thank you. Okay, well, at this time, if that is the case, and everything is submitted for completeness for the acceptance of the application, I would ask the board to entertain a motion at this time to accept the application for completeness for this project.
May I ask a question?
Mr. Vice Chairman, I will move that we accept the application for completeness as it's presented.
I have one question though, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Do you have a motion
No,
on
we
the
have a
table?
motion on the table.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
I just wanted to make sure that these buildings that were supposed to be removed, should that be in the wording anywhere? The stipulations on the back?
I'd say I have it as a recommended condition of approval.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was
That's
saying.
actually, yeah, we'll be getting to that part.
Okay.
This is just the acceptance, the completeness of the application. We just want to make sure we have everything in place. We're going to just vote on that, and then we'll proceed into the next step.
The review of the merits.
Correct. So I have a motion to accept. I have a second. Is there discussion? Very well. All in favor of acceptance of the application for completeness for this, excuse me,
You need to roll call, right?
So Troy said.
for map 5, lot 75, and map 5, lot 86.
Mike.
And so now to vote, we need to do, because we have Dave on the phone, we need a roll call vote.
Very good.
A roll call vote?
So I'll entertain a motion by roll call.
You've already got your motion, just each person votes individually, so
Okay.
clerk calls names and you speak your vote.
All right, I'll have the clerk then
Call me.
All right.
My
call
birthday
the
is
law.
clerk.
Call the law.
Tyler, Karen? Approve. Myself? Approve. Go ahead.
I
Yeah, Joe?
approve.
Blanchard?
Yeah. Approve.
Approve.
Michael
Michael?
Proto approved.
Steve Perry?
Yes.
And Dave? David?
Aye.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 600.
Motion passes 600. Okay. That part's done. Just a question before we begin. Is there any regional impact to this project at all that you can see? It's a question.
I believe so, no.
Okay, all right.
Procedural step.
Procedural step, it's part of it. Okay. Now we will move to, which is sort of the technical part of this, which is the approval process. You provided us with a little bit of a overview of what's going on. Is there anything else that you would like to add that you didn't tell us or you would like to add to the discussion?
No, I think I'm
Okay.
good with that, thanks.
I noticed you had, you have some waivers that you've submitted. Can you tell us a little bit about, can you give us a little idea of what those waivers are and what is that you're looking for in terms of a waiver?
Yeah, I believe the waivers were for the plat requirements, sections 520 and sections 530. I think on one of the waiver requests, there was a typo error. It said item 2, and it should have been item E for section 520, I believe. I don't have them in front of me, but.
Oh, it says on me.
Is that correct?
Yep. Says on
Yeah,
me.
here.
I think in the letter it said E, but.
Yeah.
So we were just, and then the ones for 530, I think were D, E, and G, or something like that. Oh, thank you. I know I,
D and G.
520, item E, sections 530, item D, E, and G. Geez, I did remember them. That's pretty good. So anyway, we just felt, because that area was so centrally located, we were only dealing with that area, plus the Herrera's lot, we did an intensive survey within that area. There's a lot going on for Parkland. I mean, in order to do a whole complete survey of that would be, we felt, very costly for the applicant, one of the applicants. So that's mainly reason we requested the waivers. Also, soils really doesn't play any part of this. There's no new construction, there's nothing going on, it's just a lot line adjustment, as well as wetlands. Even when we went out and did the survey, we kind of looked around, we didn't really see any wetlands, especially within the area that we were surveying. So that's pretty much why we requested those waivers. And I think it was locating all the driveways and all that within 100 feet. We just didn't think there was that much of a need, as just because of that one section there, that area.
Does the board have any questions they'd like to ask of the applicant?
With respect, this particular lot line issue has existed for how long?
I'm sorry?
The lot line issue existed for how long? I think that's what's Dave's question.
Kathy?
Since 1964.
Did you hear that?
Did you hear that, Dave?
I did.
Okay, all right.
I did, and my follow-up to that would be, typically people don't go after changing stuff that's existed for that long without a core motivation. I'm just curious as to what the motivation to make the change at this time is.
I don't know if I can.
Our bank is making us adjust our lot line in order to be in compliance with our bank loans.
Can we have your name, please?
Understood. Thank you.
Sorry.
Kathy Whalen, I'm the treasurer of Parkwood Estates.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody else have any questions? Very well. I'll open it up to public comment at this time. Is the members of the public wish to comment on any, have any questions for the applicant? Okay, hearing none, I will close public comment. Jen, is there any issues that need to be addressed in terms of the waivers?
No concerns with the waivers. I will note that, as a condition of approval, we should just make sure that, all approved waivers are added to the plan notes.
With that saying, I'm gonna make a motion to approve the waivers for section 520, item E, 530, item D, 530, item E, 530, item G.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
A second the motion.
Discussion. All in favor?
Roll call.
Roll call vote. Yeah,
Roll call vote. I'm sorry. It's a little different. We don't usually have people, well, we have people on speakerphone, but it's.
Okay. Kimberly Queenan, approve.
Joe Blanchett approved.
Michael Croto, yes.
Steve Perry, yes.
David?
Dave Samuel, yes.
All right, motion passes 6-0-0. Okay. Well, that takes care of the waivers. Let's see. Anything else that needs to be addressed at this time in terms of?
I make a motion that we reduce the escrow fee from 5,000 to 500.
Motion is made. Will the clerk please call the roll?
I second the motion.
Okay, Tyler.
Tyler Perrin approved.
Kimberly Queenan approve.
Joe Blanchett, approve.
Michael Proto approve.
Steve Perry, yes.
Dave Samuel, yes.
Motion passes 6-0-0. Okay. Is there anything else that needs to be addressed? Anybody have anything? The board have anything to add? Okay. Well, it looks like we can do, we can make a motion for a condition of approval if that's what the board wishes. Anybody wish to make a
Refresh the
motion to approve the lot line adjustment this evening?
Just as a question, did we get letters from fire chief, police chief, code enforcement, or no?
I put it on there as a standard, ask if they had anything, and
There was nothing.
we have nothing.
Okay. Anybody else?
What about number 5 here? Need the fire chief's confirmation of adequate emergency vehicle access.
Again, we didn't hear anything, any concerns from the fire
Anything,
chief.
do we drop that, or?
Yeah, if you had no concern.
And just for my own clarity again, on those buildings that are gonna be removed, that's gonna be in the wording? Okay. 'Cause that's one of the check items here. Okay.
Yep. And if you refresh your, agenda item
Oh,
page,
you already did it. Okay, good.
they're listed out,
Okay, thank you.
speed type.
Real time.
Anybody else? I entertain a motion for condition of approval.
Being the newest member, can I get a refresher on how I make this motion exactly?
Sure, as a tutorial, how you would make the approval would be, you would, say, I move to approve the application with the following conditions of approval, and then you would list out each of the individual conditions of approval.
Just these checked ones on this last page?
Yeah, or if you want a easier cheat sheet, they're typed on the Google site now.
Oh, wait, let me refresh.
The one that was missing from the checked
Oh, yeah, it's
boxes
all
and
red.
bullets was the, add all approved waivers to the plan notes.
Okay, so I make a motion to, what am I doing?
I make a
Approve
motion
with
to
the
approve the
conditions.
application with
With-
the following conditions.
With the following conditions. Plan copy, so attached plan copies with professional seals and signatures, or just plan copies?
So they'll submit, after the process, after the approval, they'll submit a clean, final version that incorporates,
Okay,
any corrections, changes, et cetera, the waiver approvals.
okay. So plan copies with professional seals and signatures, original Mylar with professional seals and signatures, electronic submissions per regulations, all fees paid and escrow maintained as required. Any structures described on the plan submitted that are on or over the proposed property boundary must be removed or relocated to meet current property line setback requirements of LZO section 300A. And add all approved waivers to the plan notes.
I have a motion on the table. Do I have a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk, we're going to need a roll call.
Okay?
Excuse
Oh, wait.
me,
Oh, yes.
just on the, the sheds that gotta be removed, I think, the zoning board said if they're moved, they cannot be any closer than 10 feet to the property line. But in this, it's stating that the property line setback requirements, so that would be 20 feet. So what would, I don't know if you want to, because that's what the zoning board
Your override from zoning would trump that. Correct.
I typed verbatim what's in the variance letter.
What size shed is it? Under,
It's the one that's,
it's 100,
I think the
under
boundary
100
line
square
splits
feet,
the-
it's 10-foot setback.
Yeah, so there is a, yes, there's
That's right.
a call out for smaller
for
structure for
certain
the shed.
size, it can
Yeah.
be half, okay. All right, I'm
Okay.
fine with it. Okay, sorry, I just wanted to, okay,
Synonyms.
yeah.
All right, so Tyler,
Tyler Perrin, approve.
Kimberly Queenan, yes?
Bill Blanchett, approve.
Michael Croto, approve.
Steve Perry, approve.
Dave Samuel, approve.
Motion, conditional approval passes 6-0-0. Looks like you're all set.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Recycle bin otherwise.
Do you have a black car now? Do you have a black car now? No, like a couple weeks ago, did you have a black car? What's your license? Okay. Good thing they didn't wave to you because it wasn't you.
Alrighty, the next item on the agenda this evening is Thorough Properties LLC, submitting a site plan application at 16 Colby Road, tax map 20, lot 29, to construct an 8,000 square foot single-story warehouse. The intent is to store low-hazard building materials. And if the applicant could introduce himself to the board?
Sure. My name is Tobin Farwell, Farwell Engineering Services, and here with the owner, Renee Thoreau, Optimum Building Solutions. Or this is owned by Thoreau
Properties.
Thoreau Properties. Sorry about that.
So would you want to just tell us a little bit of what you're proposing, and then maybe we can go through the acceptance of your application this evening?
Sure. Optimum Building Solutions is the business on these two
Systems.
so Optimum Building
Systems.
Systems is the company on these two parcels. We were before the board in 2014 for the smaller warehouse, and that has been working well. And we're looking to expand and create a second warehouse on the parcel. There's an existing residential building there now that will be removed as part of this project. There will be no direct access to Colby Road. It'll function as the first warehouse does now. They access it from the parking lot of Optimum and store materials in there. And that the same thing will happen for this second storage building. We have been before the zoning board and obtained variances in order to come before the planning board for this site plan review.
And all members of the board have copies of that decision by the zoning board. Okay, so what we're going to do to begin this process this evening, what we normally do, typically do, is we move to accept the application for its completeness, and that's basically a paper exercise. We make sure that you have all of your met all your requirements. And fees paid, and you've notified the abutters and so forth. Once that has been, that motion has been made and will be approved or denied or whatever, then you would go to the next step to the issue of approval. So with that said, I will basically inquire of our circuit rider, Jen. Has all information needed to complete this application been submitted to you and the planning administrator?
I've received all the documentation that I needed to complete the review. Again, I defer to Joan for the abutter notifications, seals, signatures, and fees.
Yes, abutters have been notified, fees have been paid.
Okay. And we can confirm that all signatures and seals of the registered surveyor, engineer, or architect are on the plan? And that the signed application has been received by the town?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so, with that said, I would entertain a motion, roll call, it will be by roll call vote, obviously, to accept the application for completeness, since we have all of the necessary information or items that needed for the completeness. So I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion to accept it for completeness.
I have a motion, I have a motion on the floor, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have discussion? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote, Madam Clerk, if you would, some kind?
Tyler Perrin, approve.
Kimberly Queenan, approve.
Joe Blanchett, approve.
Michael Croto, approve?
Steve Perry, approve.
Dave Samuel, yes.
Okay, the motion for the acceptance of the application as complete has been approved, 6-0-0. Okay. The next question would be, is there going to be any regional impact to this project?
No.
No regional impact, okay. All right. Okay, at this time, if you want to, if you prefer to maybe provide us with more information about this project, or if you want to talk about any waivers or anything like that, you're welcome to do that.
Sure. So on the previous, actually I think I'll switch sheets now. This is the overall sheet of what's happening sort of with the two properties creating. I don't know if I like that. I tried to put the aerial photograph on that. Is it too busy? There's one without it.
Yeah, I think the one without it's much clearer.
I tried it. So this is the original warehouse that was constructed in 2014, and as part of it we did a drainage swale that discharges on the northerly side of it. Access to the warehouse, there's doors on the front of the warehouse. It's a metal-sided single-story building. It's a very tall building, but single-story. There's no bathroom facilities, no water, no sewer, no septic in it, and that would be the same for this the new building as well. So once again, there's an existing residential building on there that will be removed. There's also a septic system in the area that will be removed. There's fences and a couple of trees that also will be removed. As part of the stormwater drainage, we are proposing to extend the swale to intercept roof runoff and catch it. Colby Brook is to the east of this project and flows and then underneath 3A. So we're proposing to intercept it. So as part of this project, the grass has come in nicely. There's a 14-foot wide gravel access around the warehouse now. It's working well. We went before the zoning board. We obtained variances from the front and side setbacks. Part of that stipulation, there would be no access to Colby Road. We would like to keep this gravel area for snow storage. So there is actually, the existing building is closer to the property line now, so we're making that more nearly conforming. It's neither here than there. We already got our variances, but so that's in an overview of what we are proposing. We're looking for variances. Waivers. Stormwater management plan. I guess our hopes, we had what we had proposed is working well. We are replacing one building with a larger building. That's why we're requesting the waiver from the stormwater management plan. Also, the traffic impact study. There's really no more deliveries, no more employees that will be required. We're anticipating possibly 4 more employees. Again, no traffic impact. We thought that was warranted, so we're requesting a waiver from that requirement. Site-specific soil map. We have gotten the NRCS site soil map. It is a Deerfield soil. I maybe am a little unclear on this, if they're looking for a site-specific soil map versus a NRCS soil. So we have provided the NRCS soil, which is a general soil, but we're requesting a waiver from any site-specific soil mapping that would be required for typically like a subdivision. Also, internal circulation plan. There's going to be no change. We have got flow arrows to indicate, where the vehicles. This is going to still remain one way. Vehicles go in and around the building, but we really don't have a detailed circulation plan. It's going to remain as it is now with the one warehouse, but there will be the second. And drainage, did I mention this already? So the drainage, we're requesting a waiver from that, from doing a drainage study and drainage plan for that as well. And that's all as far as the waivers go. We have received comment from the circuit rider as well as the fire chief and Lou Karen, the review engineer. I guess in discussing, probably the first one is the fire department. The fire department is saying that it requires 20 feet of separation from the 2 buildings where they're non-sprinkled. We are going to propose a firewall, 1-hour firewall for each of the buildings. So this one will have to be, the outside shell will have to be redone in order to get that 1-hour fire rating, and the new building will have 1-hour fire rating as well. So that should handle the separation requirement. He would also like to have a 20-foot wide gravel access around the building, or at least on 2 sides of the building, or 3 sides. He's going to have it on this. He just won't have it on this side, and where the 2 are together. We would, I guess the only problem with that, we are requesting a conditional use permit. We are proposing, I believe, 55% impervious. With 20 feet wide of gravel, I'm worried about the impervious ratio going up and beyond that 60% requirement. So we would like to discuss that with the fire chief and see if we can come up with a happy medium on that. And we'll have to see how the numbers lie out as well. My other concern with creating a wider gravel access, emergency access, is that it would also force our swale into the 50-foot no disturbance. But I guess we would just have to request an additional waiver to that requirement as well. There'd be no buildings, no structures, just grass and landscaping, and this swale would have to be shaped in the 50-foot no disturbance zone. Let's see. So, and I don't know how you want to do it. If the people who created review letters are here, if they would like to go over them, or if I should go over them with you, or how you want to proceed next.
Well, okay. First of all, is there any questions for the applicant from the board?
At this time.
Nothing? Okay. I will open it up to public comment. Does the members
Actually, I do have a question. I
Oh,
apologize.
okay. Never mind. We'll hold that. Put that on hold. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, can you discuss a little bit further the issue about that you need to come to agreement with the fire chief on? What are you pending in terms of a response from him? Have you opened the conversation? What's the status of those conversations?
So no, I haven't talked to him yet. I kind of wanted to meet with the board. I guess back in 2014, we had agreed on the 14-foot wide gravel access. His biggest concern was the weight capacity of the gravel road. So after this, we would like to meet with him and discuss this, but I haven't talked with him yet about it. So it's not like I made up the number 14. We just used it from the previous approval. And now, because I guess it is a larger, more buildings, he would like that upgraded to 20. And I stated my concerns about impervious ratios, and that would force the swale a little closer to Colby Brook.
Okay, that I have to admit that's a little bit of concern to me, just because there's been no agreement reached on that. I don't know what the feeling in the room is, obviously not being there.
Anybody want to address that, or no?
I think it's still early.
Okay.
I wanna hear everything, I wanna go through everything before I really set anything down. I'd actually think that you should go to Lou before we should open up to
Well,
public.
yes, I was about to suggest the very same thing. Thank you, Steve. We have our town engineer with us tonight, Lou Karen. Mr. Karen, welcome. Is there anything you would like to provide us with concerning this project this evening?
Have you received a copy of my letter?
Yes, I have received. I'm sure the members of the board have also received copies of your report.
Okay, about half of what I have in my comments is non-engineering related, just clarifying, like the emergency access. Noted that it was a relocated building, it's proposed, not relocated. There's a reference to a side yard setback, but I couldn't see anywhere there was a side yard infringement. There's a front yard, but not a side. So I just didn't understand why that would be on there.
Would you want me to clarify now, or is that just
Up to the board.
It'd be easier.
Yeah, that's fine, if you want to clarify.
because of the height requirement, the side yard setback is 20 feet or matching the height of the building. So if it's less than 20 feet, no problem, but I think we're proposing a maximum of 35. We're allowed up to 35. So therefore, we needed a side setback waiver because of the height of the building.
Okay. There's a contour line, a 105 contour line that basically must be where the existing house is that didn't get completed. So it's a little bit hard to tell exactly what's going on with the ground in front of the house with that information missing. Talk about 14-foot wide emergency access around the building. I recommend that the word gravel be added to that note. And it doesn't go around the building, but just over 3 sides. So maybe that note just needs some clarification. And I thought it would be helpful because of, we look at plans that are in black and white, and they have a lot of dash lines on them, and each one kind of has its own meaning. That using a crosshatch pattern would really help delineate where the new gravel access road is going in. So that would be a recommendation, just to make it clear for people out there in the field doing review work or construction. The finished floor of the building is listed at 105.8, and the original ground along the south side of the building is 106. And it's not showing that to be excavated. So, I don't know.
Right, there's going to be 4-foot concrete foundation walls go up above grade about 4 feet so that you can grade up against it. We're not proposing any doors on that side, so the grade will probably be higher on that south side than it is on the
So the
west.
concrete goes 4 feet above the original ground?
Yep, just like, did you go out there, you saw the existing building. The elevate, you see that on the elevation plans, rudimentary.
There's a note on the plan prohibiting parking in the front. I would recommend that at least 2, and perhaps more, no parking signs be installed along the Colby Road right away. There's a construction detail for a stone check dam on sheet B1, but the references, put them in as shown on the plan, but there's nothing shown on the plan, so I think there probably ought to be a couple in there. And at the end of the existing swale is a heavy dashed line forming a triangle, and I have no idea what that's about.
That's the 50-foot wetland setback. That's what that is.
But it's not connected to anything, it's just two lines.
Well, it does go on. I mean, I believe I ended it when the wetland delineation. Here's the line. That's the triangle he's talking about. Yep. Yeah, hard to see. Hard
Hard to see, drafting. Okay, specify, oh yeah, for the grass swale, specify the grass type application rate, including fertilizer, lime, and mulch applications. And finally, I do concur with the regional planning that drainage calculations should be submitted to ensure that the grass swale has the adequate capacity to recite the 25-year storm event, and then check it for impacts for 50-year storm event. It's, you know, what is, for stormwater management, it kind of sounds like it's a big thing, but all I'm looking for is a calculation that says, this is how much water I expect to be flowing in this thing, and this is how deep it'll be in there, and by the way, if you have a 50-year storm, it's gonna go over the edge. So, they're not complicated calculations.
We have no problem submitting that information. I guess I would like to make only one comment regarding the no parking signs. We would like sign pollution. We're not big on putting signs, no parking, just because of the sign pollution. It's going to be in the way. I'm not keen on them. It's not like a heavily traveled area that people need clarification. This is a business. People are going to know where to park. It's not going to be it's not very inviting. There's no door. Nobody's going to want to pull up and park there. I would request that if you guys want it in your town, that's fine, but I would not want that sign pollution in my town.
What's the landscape on the front of the building gonna be?
We were discussing that. We haven't got grass right now. Grass to the retaining wall is what we're thinking, but we certainly can do a tree or a bush or a shrub or something to soften it.
Well, I'm thinking if it's grass, it would be uninviting to park on anyway, right?
Well, yes, but right.
Get it up to the curb.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, this will be grass in here. This will be gravel.
Our next door has a lot of grass.
Technical
Across
term.
the street.
Yeah, right.
Portable grass.
Before I open it to public comment, Jen, do you have anything you'd like to?
Sure. I guess a lot of my comments pertain to the stormwater piece and just making sure that the swale is adequate to handle the stormwater on site. Just as a reminder to the board, Litchfield is a MS4 community. This site is in the urbanized area, and as such, this site needs to be able to handle and maintain all of its stormwater on site. Which means any stormwater trespass onto the abutting properties, and then particularly from you, the municipality's perspective, onto your roadways, you then own that stormwater and any pollution that may or may not come from it. So that should the public waters become contaminated and you can trace that contamination back, you own that stormwater once it hits your road. So you want to make sure that that system is adequately designed to handle that stormwater. And so a lot of my comments pertain to that. I might be okay with some of the waiver requests if we know that the stormwater system is adequate. We just need a little bit more information to be able to complete that determination. And as Lou said, it doesn't have to be big and crazy, just something that gives us those calculations that confirms that, gives you a little bit of scientific confirmation. So that was predominantly it. In terms of the conditional use permit application itself, had no real concerns other than making sure we have those calculations. Kind of going through, just on the landscaping piece, I just noted that, you know, little bit of something goes a long way. So just any additional thought that there might be to the landscaping. A couple things from your site plan regulations just to keep in mind, because you do have design requirements within your site plan regulations, that any service delivery, storage areas, and drives are supposed to be screened from a public view with fencing, walls, and/or landscaping. So that's one of the areas where landscaping might provide a benefit here. I drafted my report here before we heard back from the fire chief, so I just had a couple placeholders here saying that we were still looking for his comments. Again, on building design, your regulations do require that any facades 50 feet or longer need to have something to break those facades up and break down the massing of the building. Keep things in character with a smaller scale of development in town. Kind of going through some of these items quickly. Similar with roof planes, again, breaking down the building massing. Going quickly, what else do we have here? Comment on the stormwater management and erosion control plan. So I had several bullets here for what we were looking for to that regard. That's on page 4, item 11. I will not read all of the individual bullets. So item 12, I think, is another point. It's worth a larger conversation potentially, is that we're removing septic from the site. There are no restrooms in either of these two buildings. So essentially this site in and of itself, or this lot, is rendered unusable without the other parcel that's adjacent, it's lot 27. So without septic, you don't have an independent occupiable lot without that septic. And similarly, lot 29 is now fully dependent upon lot 27 for your access to the site, as well as circulation. So one of the things I didn't put in the thing, but it was thinking about afterwards, was that some of these additional things might be addressed if the two lots were merged. They function as one single lot, but as a standalone lot, as proposed, where it's losing its septic system, lot 29 no longer is viable as an independent buildable lot.
Certainly can always be replaced. It's just as if you own two lots and
I
you
don't
go
know,
to the other one.
but I would say with at least as far as what we have before us now, I don't know that there's room for a new septic system to go in on that lot. And there's no evidence that there is room for a septic system to go in on the lot. With the two
Could you
structures.
be more specific as to what regulation we're violating by not having a? I guess I'm not following your logic. I mean, I see what you're saying, that there's no
I'm happy to
septic, so-
provide you. I'll look for it separately, but I'm happy to give you specific provision for where it says you need to be able to support a septic system on site.
Okay, because so this is something new, right? Or is this? I don't see it in. I didn't see it in your comments.
Item 12. Where are the restrooms for the employees?
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I've had a bad example, but I've had a moment where I looked out my kitchen window and saw, folks doing work on my neighbor's property, happily using a tree in their backyard for the restroom facility.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And so without restroom facilities on lot 2029, I want to make sure that there is an appropriate place for folks who are occupying lot 2029 to relieve themselves without public indecency.
Absolutely. Well, let me explain that these are warehouses where materials just come and are stored. It's not like an employee is standing outside for 8 hours. He's not there all the time. Stuff gets dropped off. The employee has the other building that he accesses and uses the facilities as needed. Materials are picked up. They are picked up and loaded on a truck, and they are off of site. So it's not like there's no office space in this. This is not for employees to spend their day. This is for material storage.
Can I ask, in terms of the storage piece, are you going to have trucks going in there at a regular interval? How is that? Do you know? Is it just maybe you?
No more than it is now. What it is we've just outgrown the current space we have to store the materials. Just simple. We have to store more materials. Our business is growing, and because our business is growing, we don't have enough current warehouse space for the materials we have to buy for the growing business. And in hindsight, I should have made the first building, I should have made that twice the size. But at that time, the house was there. We said, well, we'll leave the house. We didn't think any more about it. The economy is good. We want to take advantage of it. Hence the warehouse for just, like I said, just storing materials. So the current flow is we get maybe a delivery a day, maybe 2. Now we might get 3, maybe another delivery than normal because we have more warehouse space. In fact, we're probably going to cut the deliveries because we have to have delivery, let's say 5 times a week because of the storage space that we currently have. We might be 3 times a week because we have more storage space. So that's all that we needed to do. Just
Is
store
it big
materials.
trucks or small vehicles or?
A little bit, everything.
Everything.
Tractor trailers, flatbeds.
It fits what currently goes down there. Could I ask a couple questions?
Go ahead.
I mean, this is, you don't really have to answer the question, but what's the hesitation to just merge the lots?
You want me to answer?
Sure.
I think it's options. If something happens and they want to dissolve this and build something else on there, they have the ability to do so, where they would be much more constrained if it was one lot. They've already got it subdivided. It's already subdivided. If they wanted to do, they split the company tomorrow, and all of a sudden they wanted to put something else in there. Somebody could come in there and buy it. They could sell it. They have options.
Is it a non-conforming lot, and that's the worry?
No.
Okay. Why wouldn't you increase the size of the warehouse that's there now? Would it require sprinkling?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just wondering why you'd go through the trouble to make 2 firewalls and you wouldn't just join the building.
It's
and make
relatively easy cost. That's what I do. So it's relatively easy for us.
it- well, I know
Sprinklers
that
are-
too, but
Yeah.
I still wanted to
Well,
ask.
because if we have the sprinklers, then we have to heat the building. Then we have to have a heating system. Or if we have to go over the dry system, the cost is extreme. And then there's maintenance issues and so forth.
Yep.
You're trying to keep it as costly, efficient as possible.
Okay. And we're not through this, but as of this point right now, what I see is if the fire department was gonna okay that, I could be okay with that. I do think that the gravel path, drive, whatever they wanna call it, needs to go around the other side. If it's shifting everything over a little bit and doing a little of the disturbance, I wouldn't have a problem with that, especially if that's gonna make the fire department happy.
The CUP, I guess, is what happens if we exceed the 60%?
You have to go to the zoning board.
Have to go to the zoning board.
I don't think a gravel drive is gonna really exceed it.
I
It's
hope
not the
not.
same impervious rate, is it?
I thought it was. I have to research that. I was going to consider it to be impervious. If you're saying that we can consider the gravel 75%, it's unclear in the regulations as to how to. Or as far as
We're
I
just
know.
trying
Have
to
you
find
seen
a
any?
happy medium, Steve. that's
I
all.
completely understand that. I'm just saying, from
from-
where I stand,
Right.
I think it's easy, and I don't think it's really impervious. I mean, I know the building that I work in, we have a gravel path that goes 3/4 of the way around the back of the building. That's the way it was 25 years ago when it was built. 95% of it now is all grass,
Yeah. Yeah.
because the grass just grew through it. So to me, that's not impervious, but I don't know what the regulations are.
I don't think it speaks directly to it. Lou, what's your opinion on that?
Gravel would have a lower coefficient of runoff than pavement or a roof. We typically use 90% or thereabouts for a hard surface, and might be 80 or 85% for gravel. It's not really impervious,
I think even 80 or 85% is high.
might be. Yeah,
Should be about 60.
Right.
Well,
Unused or rarely used gravel. Hey, that was my concern. I mean, we really don't,
We're just trying to find the happy medium, Steve, that's all.
and that's good. I wanted to have the discussion.
That's
we're
just
good
my
with it.
opinion.
That's how I went with it. It was 14 feet before. That's why I extended it as 14 feet. Now, if the fire department wants 20, we're happy to do what we need to. I just don't want to butt heads with any other part of the regulation.
Okay, sorry.
That's all right. Does anybody else have any questions? Is this located near, I'm just curious, is it located within, or is it near the Merrimack River?
I have contacted the LMRLAC. I contacted them 4 years ago, and they said it's on the fringes of their territory, and they weren't concerned at that time. I sent them the new plans, and then I'm waiting a response.
Okay.
Merrimack River's across the Charles Bancroft and down a ways.
Yeah.
But if it's in the corridor.
Yeah, they'll respond.
What about like fire hydrants or anything like that? Have you talked to the fire chief or discussed anything?
We've got the comments. He did not have.
There's a couple at the churches down the road.
The active hydrant's right across the street from you at the intersection, correct?
Yeah,
So that's well within.
but they have two of them there now.
I don't understand why they do that.
Informal pressure reduction, if they have to, they can do it using the two hydrants. They did the same thing on Corning Road, has to do with water pressure.
Well, before we didn't have any, so now we have
Oh, yeah?
two.
Right.
Any other comments? I'm curious if the board would be interested, well, before I even go there, I should open it up to public comment. Is the members of the public wish to comment at this time? I'm going to open it up. I guess there's nobody there. So I'm going to close public comment. I have to do it procedurally, sorry. I have to make sure that we get everybody noticed. Oh, sorry. Okay. I was wondering if the board would be interested in perhaps, because of the nature of this particular project, would be interested in doing a site walk. Would that be something that the board would be interested in doing? Just to get a better idea of what, and with, of course, with your permission, of course.
Sure.
Just to get an idea of, because sometimes, maps are helpful, but seeing things and visualizing things at the site or in particular locations can also be helpful in getting an idea of what's going on.
Currently, the home is still up, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have a plan that shows the building itself that you're gonna erect?
Just a rudimentary elevation. I mean, it's gonna look very similar to that building. I've just got the elevation drawings. It's gonna be vinyl sided with a metal roof. We're gonna do a little cricket over the large door.
Exactly like the building that's already there. Color.
Big high foundation out of the ground.
Steel roof?
Steel roof. Red.
Red roof?
Red roof.
Is that the
Matches everything there.
Yeah, right. See the aerial?
Yeah, our barn has a red roof, white sided, so we just keep everything all matching.
Nice.
Yeah,
Does that map help at all?
Thank you. Yes.
May I ask a question on the house?
Sure.
Only because of a passing conversation I had with Kevin Lynch on a different house they were demolishing.
Uh-huh.
He was concerned about hazardous materials. It takes a long time to demolish a house if you have to bring in specialists.
Asbestos or anything.
Yeah, I don't know if
If
this
it is,
qualifies or not.
we took down a garage that was next to it, and the same siding, and it was inert. So all we had to do was just get a container, wrap it up plastic, and then ship it off to so I'm
So it's not a
99% sure it's the same
It's not a
material on the
6-month
siding.
process, Okay.
It's considered not loose fiber. So we just get a container, wrap it up in plastic, and then ship it to a place we can get the rating to show it is to a site approved for that, just like we did for that barn. And then the fire department burned the rest. And that was about 6 6, 7, maybe 8 years ago.
So the grassy area that goes around this current building, is that what it is? Is it flat grassy area?
Well, it's got that swale in it now. This is,
Okay, so
it directs
swale
all the
is
storm
in that
water.
grassy area.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
How much does that dip down?
1%-ish.
So it's, alright, so to me, that's not even really a swale, it's more like a, I guess it is, but.
Well,
How much does the elevation change from the highest to lowest point? Like say next to the building down to the bottom?
it's got a good dip to it.
Yeah, I still say it's about 1% because it really gets flat at the end. This is a nice level spreader. It diverts it to the end. So if it's call it 101.5 there, and 102, 103. So maybe 1.5 foot right now to this point. Right, so these are 1 foot contours, so that's a foot.
So I guess where I'm going with this building's essentially accessible to drive around now.
We had to.
Right, right.
That was the requirements when we built it last time, that the fire department can go all the way around it.
Right, and the fire, they don't want loam there because their wheels would sink in, so
Right.
they want gravel.
There's 14 foot of gravel around it now.
Okay.
And there's a lot of vegetation right along the brook too.
Yeah, there is, yeah.
Along the brook, there's a lot of vegetation, so.
I'm wondering if part of the fire department's thought and concern is not so much the roadbed, but the clear space. And so what if the 14-foot gravel came away from the building a little bit, had a landscape strip between the building and the gravel? Possibly just gives some maneuverability and keeps their trucks on something that can handle the weight, but didn't impact your impervious.
Now I'm all for the 20 feet, frankly. If we can say that even as long as we don't go over the 60, you know, and everybody's okay with what the adjustment that would be required, the 6 feet only, that everything would have to be moved out, I'm good for it. And why, frankly, that we're going to landscape in front, and we don't want to landscape on this side, because nobody's going to see it. He's not going to want to maintain it. And this side, you know, making that radius is a little bit difficult. So we can keep it away from the building because we don't have the swale issue on that side anyway. So I think we can make the 20 feet work. I mean, we're not. That was our concern. As long as we can be under the CUP requirement, 20 feet of gravel sounds good to all. To us.
So, if I might make a comment. We have a lot of things here that are concerns that Jen has brought forward to us. We should probably go through them so that they know what they need to work on moving forward, so that we can just get this thing done. How's that sound?
That's, well, let's ask the other members of the board, is that something that sounds reasonable, or do you
I mean, we should really.
Good to me.
comment on that? Okay,
But
all right.
I would ask procedurally. I can't remember if we went through their request for variances, not variances.
Waivers.
But,
Waivers?
waivers, yeah.
We went through the list, but we haven't deliberated on them.
Right.
So I would say that we probably want to take a look at the waivers first, and then I agree with Steve that, you know, we do need to talk about the punch list here.
So I would actually start. This is Jen butting in. I would actually start with Steve's recommendation to go through the list of what additional information you might need, because you may need additional information before you can act on some of the waivers.
That's cool.
So what is the wish of the board? Do we want to continue this hearing to a date certain for the applicant to come back and provide us with the information that we've requested, or?
We should go through all these items so that we can,
Okay.
so that they know what to work on in order
Right,
to
okay.
come back.
Yes.
Or some of these might get answered just by asking them now.
Okay. Okay. So, I know you touched on a couple things. Let's see. So I think what we need to do is go through the list of things that they would need to have for us next time, so that we can continue with the approval process and basically setting the conditions at that time. I think one of the issues was the stormwater issue. And Jen, you can help me out on this if you want.
Sure. I mean, as a first step, I would defer to Lou's comment about just having some drainage calculations so we know how the swale is or isn't performing and whether it's adequate. I think that's the first thing
Okay.
I would suggest with that. Some of these questions that I raised might go away with that answer.
Okay. Oops. Sorry. Big.
Well, you can read it now.
Again, now, yeah, thank you.
Starts right here.
Okay. So I think it goes back to my question. The traffic, I know section 120.1.1A is traffic impact study. So I think what's important is that we want to make sure that, I guess the question is, will there be an increase in the number of vehicles accessing the property, or will this increase capacity? That's an issue that I think should be addressed. Sounds as though, I think you kind of covered that in terms of, the vehicles coming in and going out. That. The soil map for the site, I would like to see if there's anything in terms of the, because it's a heavily developed site. What are the risks of any? I want to make sure that there's no erosion issues.
Yeah, so am I maybe, because I did see that Jen had the comment that the soils are on, you require an NCSS, National, whatever that stands for, NCSS, which is the NRCS Web Soil Survey, which has been done.
Mm-hmm.
And I reread the regulations, which I think have changed,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all that but it does mention, let's see, what is that, 120? What's the soils? 155, sorry.
155.4.
Yeah, soils information for design, for purposes or for determining highly erodible should be determined from National Cooperative Soil Survey, NCSS, Soil Series Map, which I have provided. That's the Deerfield. But then it goes on to a high-intensity soil map, which I have not, of the site, prepared in accordance with the Society of Soil Scientists of Northern New England, special publication number 1, can only be used for design purposes and not for determining highly erodible soils. So I'm a little bit...
That one doesn't sound like it's required.
Yeah.
I'd say,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I am giving you the NCSS. That is on there. It's
Okay.
Deerfield soil, but we do not intend to, and I don't think you require a high-intensity soil map. So what the NCSS will give me my hydrologic conductivity. You know, that will allow me to do my drainage analysis.
Well, in terms of the waiver issue, I just wanted to make sure that there's no, that we want to be clear on it. There's no risk that goes with that.
That's right. So I would request that you, if you grant the waiver, that you just say a high-intensity soil map. We waive the requirement for a high-intensity soil map. If that is what, and I believe so, right? A high-intensity soil map is great if you're having a subdivision and you want to know the septic loading. That's a great question, should be done. But, not a rework site with, where it already has the NCSS soil map information is provided. I mean, are we on agreement?
Anybody
There's a
have any
septic
questions
already,
about
there's a
that?
septic system already there, we're gonna remove it.
Yeah, right.
So the I don't know. You may have already answered this question. I'm sorry. It's a lot of information. How we know how the products are going to be stored in the warehouse? I know they're not hazardous, but in terms of the
Like shelving and
I guess my question, or
Well, 90% of it comes on pallets.
how it's stored.
Oh, so it's
I guess that's
Come
my
on
question.
pallets.
Yeah.
They come self-contained, wrapped in plastic or cardboard or whatever. A lot of it's acoustical ceiling products.
I was just gonna say, what's most of the products you're getting in?
Acoustical ceilings, and we're getting the metal panels, and they all come wrapped in plastic or in cardboard on pallets. We might have some racks in there.
Yeah, if you need to increase the space, right?
Well, to go
The
high.
usage.
Actually, pallets of ACT you can stack 3 or 4 high on itself.
Are you still seeking the conditional use permit? Is that
yes.
You have to.
Yeah, we have to.
all right? So I think we're probably going to want to make sure that that's taken care of. I'm just curious. Has this? I don't know. Have you talked to the Conservation Commission at all? I know that there's an aquifer protection district here. I think there's an issue with that. Have they made any comments to you at all? I don't know. Recommendations or anything?
No.
Okay. Is that something you would consider doing to go before them? I mean, they're not a regulatory board. They can, but they can. I think they have expertise in advising people on different issues. I know you have a swale issue and all that stuff. Maybe it's something that would be helpful.
I prefer not. I mean, I prefer
It's
not
up
to.
to you.
But we're outside the 75-foot no building zone. So typically, if we were encroaching upon those setbacks, we certainly would go before the Conservation Commission.
What about? Just curious. What about for landscaping purposes, fencing or anything of that nature? Are you going to be doing anything like that on the property, or is it just going to be the building?
I think that based upon what Jen had brought up, is that there's supposed to be a landscape plan presented, because buildings are not supposed to
Okay.
be viewable from the street. And
Right.
Because the facade over.
I think that if you did a landscape
can be,
plan
but-
for your grass area in front, something that's delineated what you were gonna do, maybe if you threw a couple shrubs in there to, I mean, you're not gonna hide the building.
No.
No, it's not like we're in a, it's not like we're in a
It's the,
neighborhood. We
it's
are
the
in a
service
commercial.
area.
Right.
You know, fitting in with the surrounding buildings,
There's
certainly.
no houses around us. The only house that I have is gonna come down, so. Sure, we can.
Right, up the street is the big blue warehouse, right, it's blue. Yeah. Not saying that we can't improve upon what's there, but.
Is that something you could include in your plans or anything? I don't know.
We certainly are willing to throw.
Just to have it in there, or just have it recognized in the.
I think the better way to do it is ask the board if the board wishes to see a landscape plan and if what they wish to see in it. Because if the board decides that it fits in the area just as it is, they shouldn't have to supply one. If the board wants to see a couple of bushes and shrubs or maybe a tree, they should have to supply one.
What does anybody else think about that?
Give me 1 minute. I'm Googling something real quick. Stand by.
Loading.
Yeah, I gotta. I just want to look at the actual area on Google Maps just to
Sure.
get a picture of it.
The area looks just like this.
Yeah, right. The area's just like this.
Looks just like this.
Beautiful, beautiful. Just what I need.
Beats computers.
Loading.
Look at that.
Hold, you can zoom in too.
I think it really is a matter of preference at this point. I understand that it does, anything you do is gonna fit what's there now. It's just a matter of, do you dress it up with a little bit of stuff? That's
Sure.
I mean, I would like to see anything at all, really, for this. Just any kind of landscaping plans at all. I would personally like to see, because I mean, I think it could use a couple shrubs or whatnot.
Throw in a couple arborvitaes, they might even hit 20 feet tall.
20 years.
Yeah, I'm certainly not saying it needs anything extreme or anything, but I'd like to put the foot forward.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if anybody else has any-
Particularly the fact that we're talking about orientation concerns and the actual design having planes that look like they run more than 50 feet. So I would be very interested in seeing the landscaping plan.
Yeah.
Right, so that fits, so the landscaping plan fits the question 5 as well. All service, delivery, storage areas, drives shall be screened from public view. Well, the ones that are there now aren't.
No, however, I would kind of remind that when you come forward and you've got a substantial improvement, then you need to work towards compliance with the regulation that's on the books at that time for the portion of what you're looking at. And again, if we're kind of talking about some of the we need to again remember to look at it as just lot 29, not the surrounding lot 27 that does tend to flow into 29. So.
So on this plan here, the gravel area in the front, I see where that is, and it wraps around. When it hits the lot line, that is pretty much pavement from there over, correct?
Yeah.
This is gonna be a gravel area. This is pretty much all pavement
This is pavement, this is the line now. See, this is the chain link, the circles of the chain link fence.
That's gonna get
And
removed.
so that's gonna get removed, and this dark line is gonna be the new edge of pavement. So this is gonna be all pavement in here.
So would it fit to screen the area if something
Yeah.
was planted here?
That's what,
That would provide some screening? Oh, you solve your parking problem along the road too. No signs needed if you put up shrubs.
I'm all for it. Shrubs. I hate picking them out. I don't like arborvitae, sorry, but
No, I don't blame you.
I don't know what I do, you know.
They're a good screen, but they look kind of ridiculous
Yeah,
if
they're
they're not in a line.
And you'd rather have it shorter, right? You'd rather have sort of a hedge type of thing?
Sure.
Easy.
So then if we keep moving on,
Yep.
when you go to 6 with the fire chief's confirmation of adequate, I think that we need them to meet with the chief and get,
Yeah,
Yep.
get some agreement there.
Agreed.
That'd be awesome.
I think that that's the easiest way, because us telling them what to do might not be what the chief wants,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
I think that's the easiest way.
Okay.
Now to 8. You want to handle 8?
Oh. Building massing forms.
Yeah.
Looks like Tobin wants to answer that for us.
Yeah.
What's your answer?
That's the shrubs. I thought the shrubs would break it. That'll break it up.
So you have an overhead door that's going to the back of the building. This is 50 feet. We're supposed to be breaking it up. How long's the building? 120?
80 by 120?
80 by 100.
80 by 100.
It's 8,000 square.
Yeah.
So I'm not telling you what to do, and it may not be feasible. But if that door was in the middle, along with your
Work without a building.
put it in the middle because then you can't get to it easily.
right,
So that's why we got to keep it off to the side.
Well, we're gonna put windows. That breaks things up.
I mean, I'd be more concerned with the front face. Yeah,
Because that-
anything that's visible from the public right away.
I get that.
We can put, it's vinyl siding, I'm sure we can put decoration or something.
yeah. What would actually qualify there? Would
It's a warehouse, I'm a little
Yeah.
confused.
It's a warehouse, that's the challenge here. And when the design guidelines piece of the site plan regulations were written, it was not with the thought that a warehouse would be going in, because a warehouse wasn't a permitted use in the zone, and that you got the variance for it. So, and there was, the design guidelines were written to guide development based on the list of permitted uses in the ordinance, and that was all with the intent of kind of creating a specific character.
Well,
So, I mean, in this case,
well, like I said, we're gonna put windows, and it's vinyl siding, I'm sure we can put architectural lines and dress it up a little bit, so it doesn't act as one long wall.
could
That's
we have
easy enough.
something for the next meeting
Sure,
to show that?
sure.
Perfect.
So the windows, what's the,
Agree.
or like, you mean a little roofish structure, or what do you mean?
We'll draw something for you.
Okay.
We'll make something pretty fun.
I mean, I
On the
look
one
at-
that faces Colby Road, because
Yes.
that's what you're gonna see.
Yes.
a possible example to look at would be the site plan application we had a little while back. Oh, who were they? Erickson, yeah. I mean, they had it, they had an office component, so it made it a little bit easier to incorporate some windows and kind of breaking things up. But I think in there, did they do like a clear story? They might have done like a clear story window line near part of the warehouse. Again, I mean, you want to think about it. If you're putting windows in, though, you want to make sure that that's not incompatible with the interior use and function of the building.
Understood.
So, in some cases, it might simply be just breaking up the pattern of the siding itself.
That's easy enough to do.
Yeah.
We'll draw something.
We'll draw-
Understood.
Okay.
It's no problem, we'll
Give
take
it a
care of
shot.
that.
You're gonna love it.
So now we go to 9. I don't really care if it's orientated to the street.
Yeah.
I'm fine. It matches the orientation of the building behind it, and on the neighboring lot. I think that is fine. 10's in the same vein.
Yeah, but that's why we have the little cricket.
On the back where no one's gonna see
Ah.
it.
So close.
Nice try.
Yeah.
Did you have a plan for adequate snow storage? I'm just curious. I know that in your variance.
Well, that's why we wanted to leave the gravel, since no one's gonna be parking there.
Okay.
That's what we currently have been doing for the last,
Yeah, and you're not changing the size
20
of
years.
the parking lot anyway.
we
So.
push it to the corner.
Yeah.
And we have tenants that park their car there, so since there will be no tenants, no car, it's gonna be a little easier to push the snow over there. So
Yeah.
Actually, it's gonna be more convenient.
You have employees, there's not, I know there's not a lot of employees, correct? 'Cause it's
Excuse
just-
me?
How many employees?
Maybe four, if that. It's just, like, again, it's just cold storage. Receive deliveries, they store deliveries, and then they pick it up as they go along.
Just, maybe, put that, I mean, just what, basically, in terms of the snow storage issue, maybe mark that on the plan, just that you, you've accounted for it.
Which comment is that?
It's actually what,
Mike's comment.
it's my comment
Oh.
from, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it's actually, I mean, it's part of the zoning decision.
Yep.
I think it's findings number 2,
Yeah, remember they asked about that.
talks
Oh,
about
zoning.
the
Okay.
proposed location is intended to provide for adequate snow storage and access for emergency vehicles. I just thought I'd make sure.
We would grass it.
Yeah.
We said no, because we need to push the storage in the snow, so.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay.
So now we should be on 10.
We should be on 10. So, this has what kind of roof?
Roof
Is this a
line.
contiguous?
Metal ridge,
Or metal?
gabled.
Okay.
Saying it's already on the building.
What's the pitch? It's
Oh my gosh.
it's
It's not
reasonable.
It's about, I think it's like a 7 or 8 pitch.
Yeah.
Nothing too aggressive.
Okay.
but very New Englandy.
We try to conform with the existing building around it.
And that thing lets snow off it. How far out would that go?
Within 10 feet, easy enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't want to be driving by the building when it comes down. It'd probably scare the crap out of me.
When we're working inside, you hear it go, it goes.
Yeah. Especially once it turns to ice, right? If it gets to ice first.
Well, it's when it heats up just a little bit. Doesn't take much, just enough to warm it up. So if it gets a little bit sunny. But there's never ice on there because it just slides off as quick as it can.
Yeah.
And since it's not heated, you're not creating a ice condition.
Yep. What's the desire here?
Oh wait, there's not a little cupola on the other one? No.
On our office there is, but not on the warehouse.
That's, okay.
Why, you wanna put a coupon in there?
It'll break up the 100-foot run.
Sure, we'll put a coupon in there.
You want a cupola?
Let's not get too crazy.
Yeah, or
I-
not, or a waiver. Can we get a waiver or a cupola?
I can be honest. I mean, knowing how the building looks now that's there, the ridged roof, I don't have a problem with it. But I'm only one.
The ridge line breaks it up. It doesn't.
How many cupolas do you want on the same, well, I guess they're not on the same property.
I don't care so much about a cupola. Change
Yeah.
the siding and break up the massing, and I'm happy.
Yeah, there you go.
Personally, cut my losses. It's a warehouse.
I was happy with the vinyl siding. I thought it was going to be the vertical metal siding.
So can I make a recommendation? It
Yes,
feels
Dave.
like we're circling around a number of different issues here. Maybe we can press forward by continuing to cover them one by one and
Where we're at.
make a determination as to whether or not this is going to be continued to a date and time certain.
Right, and what I'm just trying to do is we're just trying to cover so that they understand an understanding of what they need to do for next time when they come in. So, what I have so far, I mean, we talked about the drainage calculations, talked about the landscaping, meeting with the fire chief. the issue of the siding of the windows, adequate snow storage, and whether you want to put a cupola or
No cupola.
Yeah, no.
whatever.
She cut her losses on that one.
So that's what I have so far.
Okay, so now we're on 11.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this has to do with the requirements.
CUP, yep.
Yes. So
So you good with that?
With
Or
what?
is it already provided?
Q's, we exceed 15,000, submit a stormwater management and erosion control plan.
That's
So
gonna
yeah,
be
so,
the calculation.
yeah, so we're gonna do the calculations and show that the swale is handling the 25 and 50-year storm.
Perfect.
I would say if you focus on the last two bullets, I think those are the most critical at this point. Is one is the calculations so that we can actually
Right.
make an informed review. The bullet prior to that is, and this is something we should have done with your previous approval, and we did not erroneously, is what it is. However, the stormwater management plan is supposed to be recorded with the deed. So it needs to be something that's 8.5 by 11
Oh.
that can get recorded. So, and it's, again, as Lou says, it doesn't have to be profound. I mean, I think you've covered the kind of the check boxes of what the content of that document is to be in your plan sheet, in those particular notes that say, how maintenance is going to be done and how, how it's.
Do you have a form, a standard form that you want it recorded by, or who's reviewing it and approving
We
what's going to be
haven't
recorded?
had one to record in some time, so, I don't,
Right, I know that, but I'm just thinking the maintenance, so you're saying that the maintenance, there's
Joan,
going
do
to
you
be
have
swale?
one that's ever been recorded?
So why do I have to be the first?
Yeah. Just like we were.
So what warrants this?
So it's in the regulation, and my guess is that's coming out of the MS4 requirements. And you probably adopted
Which was there in 2014.
You
It was the
probably
same thing.
modeled, you probably adopted the model ordinance back in the day, and that's probably the standard language.
I don't understand the intent of recording it. Is that if it's on file with the town?
Grass the wrong guy.
I would say, it's more the transfer, the theory behind it is the transfer, so that should that property be transferred in the future, how often is a purchaser gonna come into the town and pull old site plans? They're not, they're gonna pull the deed though. So it's a thing so that is documented should the property be sold in the future. It's unlikely that a purchaser would come and pull a plan.
But then, so he's going to have to rewrite his deed to reference the recorded. But that doesn't.
The board can certainly
Do we need a waiver for that?
take their
That's what I would like.
druthers of how to proceed and address this. And I'm reading and reporting what the regulation says and explaining why.
the regulation is asking that it be recorded with the deed. It should be recorded with the deed.
I think it's a case by case. I mean, my argument against it, if this was a big development, 10 acres, a Walmart's coming in with a big parking lot, it's going to have underground stormwater detention and treatment. It's going to have a landscaped new wetlands are going to be created that requires maintenance. It's going to have pervious pavement that's going to have to be vacuumed. Then that would be appropriate to have something recorded that this is what's going on for a redevelopment site of this size. I think it's.
I will say for like the subdivisions that we've had, as you guys are well aware, they always come with the stormwater easements because again, they're usually focused along the new roadways. There are provisions in there for that, and then that easement gets conveyed to the town so that maintenance does occur in the future as associated with the roadways and those developments. So, I mean, there's that from precedent, but
So we can waive this.
you can waive it.
So then we would request a waiver for this.
I would say I'd be okay with that.
What does the other members of the board feel?
I mean, it's on the plan sheet, it's addressed. The question is, does it need to go with the deed, and does the scale of development warrant that?
What do you think?
It's not a subdivision, so I'd be fine with it.
All right, well, I mean, we can certainly, at the time when we consider the waivers, we can probably include this as something we can add as the waiver requirements.
So they may want to draw up a new waiver request.
Yeah, so that's probably what you're gonna wanna do. You're gonna wanna draw up another request, adding that as one of your, requests.
And Jen, can also provide us with the section 155.6.3 and 155.9 so we can see how it doesn't intersect with this, or how it shouldn't be required, or how we could waive it.
Dave, I'm sorry, I don't think we got all that. Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Well, this is all in reference to the note on the narrative. Am I not correct?
Note on the narrative.
Yes.
Yes.
And in your notes, you reference sections 155.6.3 and 155.9.
Correct.
And you had a concern that it might intersect with those. Steve is suggesting that we could potentially waive this. Is it worthy of just a quick look at 155.6.3 and 155.9 to feel comfortable with the fact that everyone's okay with waiving?
Sure, I have turned right to section 155.6.3 is a section called report section including, and it talks about the drainage calculations. It doesn't talk about recording it. And the recording it talks under 155.9, which is the maintenance and inspection. And it says under 155.91, a narrative description of ongoing maintenance requirements for water quality measures required by stormwater management and erosion and sedimentation control plans after final planning board approval shall be recorded on the deed to the property on which such measures are located. The narrative shall be in the form of a typical site plan management development agreement or is otherwise set forth by the planning board. The description so prepared shall comply with the requirements of RSA 478-4A as detailed below, which is a note requirement.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, so that's basically it.
So
Well,
we'll
it sounds like we can waive it.
just ask for a waiver.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just basically probably want to conclude that.
I will.
As a waiver request. Okay. Well, the next one goes, I think, to Jen's earlier comment about the septic system.
Right. So yes,
Where are the existing bathrooms of the employees? I don't know. I mean, there are people who are going to be working at this site, correct?
right. So they're going to go if they have to go. They're going to go in the office building or the other building.
So the other building has it? Is that?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. As it is now, delivery comes in, we go out, we unload it, put it in, delivery leaves, we go back in our office. It's
Right, but I think, well, if I can speak, I
Go
think
ahead.
the main concern was that these are two separate
They're
lots,
two separate lots.
right? So, like, if you're gonna,
me two separate. Oh, okay.
so if one lot is entirely dependent on the other lot, it makes it really difficult to do anything with in the future without ripping everything up.
We'll plan
And
on
at
doing
that
it.
point, I feel like it's just realistically one lot. I mean, if you're entirely dependent on another lot, then it's realistically not two lots that you have. I think that's the main concern here. I don't know. I can't speak for Jen.
I mean, the concern when I was reviewing it was purely,
That's what it looks to me.
having a place,
Yeah.
making sure that there are facilities still provided, is the bottom line. So-
Facilities are provided.
Yeah, it's just strange to call it 2 lots if it's entirely dependent on if they're entirely one.
It is
lot
not that strange. It is not that. You say, like, this has never happened. I've seen.
Well, no, I'm not saying it's ever happened. I'm just saying it's just.
It's up to the owner, but I would advise him not to. We have 2 lots there. There's no reason to merge. Once it's merged, you have to go through a subdivision process to subdivide it, and it would never happen, or it would be difficult. This allows him to keep his options open.
And who says someday I can put bathrooms in there and so
Yeah.
forth down the
You
road.
can put the whole septic system back, I guess. It's just.
Offices, I could do all kinds of things down the
Yeah.
road, so.
That's right.
Right now, the use is perfect for what we need it for the current
Yeah,
time.
I just don't know that there's room necessarily for the septic system, if there were ever to be a septic system without knocking a building down.
Okay, then we'll knock the building down.
Right in here? Why not? Has to be 10 feet from a property line, so that gives you a lot of area right in there. These packaged treatment plants you can buy now, aeration systems require 75 square feet for the leach field.
Or put a holding tank and get it pumped monthly.
Yeah, state wouldn't like that, but yeah, I think you can do it.
Unless you can put up a toll gate so the guy to get in his warehouse has to pay a toll every time.
There you go.
Can whomever repeat that, please?
It was just
It's all you, Lou.
Yeah.
Any questions about that from the board, or how do other people feel about that?
I mean, if you're okay with it as proposed, it is what, it is what it is.
I kind of look at it as proposed, it's reliant on the other side.
Right.
If it were to be sold, well, that's the new person's problem to deal with.
Sure is.
But I don't know how it could be sold anyway, because the access for the building would be directly
Yeah.
coming from the other side anyway.
Right.
Have to come back before this board and resolve.
You'd have to
these
have an
issues.
access agreement, if it were to be sold. I mean, and again, if these were 2 lots under separate ownership, you'd need an access agreement with this configuration. So, I mean, it's just,
Not to create more problems, but why doesn't it now?
why doesn't it now?
Because it has the same owner?
Because it's the same owner, I suppose.
But if use is transferred as 2 separate
Right.
lots, why wouldn't it need one?
You're right.
I have
And
no
the
idea.
same, and that's kind of my same point on
According to the covenant.
demonstrating that septic is still feasible on this lot, because for the lot on its own, to stand on its own, it still has to have, access and sanitary features
Let's have
and,
access as a 20-foot, we can always go around the
right,
other way.
yeah.
Which
So,
is for the fire department, which we could use for the new owner.
but,
I have confidence that Renee's gonna be around a long time. I'm not too worried about it.
Been here for 36 years, so.
like you said, it's something that if the one lot were to be sold, or either lot sold, then that someone would have to come back.
Well, it wouldn't comply then, and
Nope.
our code enforcement would then have to
Right.
enforce the
Correct.
fact that it doesn't comply.
And you would have created something that doesn't comply.
How? Because we're not making them draw up where they would do a septic?
Or demonstrate that it's feasible. I don't know. Yeah,
Them to
What if they said they were gonna
feasible?
put a porta potty there?
they're gonna put what?
That would be,
Put a
that,
porta potty there.
you couldn't do that for long term.
No.
Sanitation regulations. But I'm still, if this was sold, you'd have to go for a site plan review, and the guy says, all right, now I'm gonna sell shoes or whatever. We could put a septic system, and he would be allowed to access Colby Road, but he'd have to go before you guys for, right, it's a new circulation, it's a new
Right.
site plan.
Maybe
So
change the
show me
use.
how it meets the
Yeah.
the regulations.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yep.
That's kind of the way I see it.
Okay.
It'd be the new person's problem to deal with.
Yep.
I completely agree.
I figured you would.
Just in case you're wondering.
Anything else?
They're mulling it over still.
13 is,
Well, yeah, it's basically edits.
Yeah, 13 are all just minor edits.
Okay.
Basically, add a note to the sheet,
Sure.
a regular substance greater than 6 gallons will be stored on the site. Stone check dam diagram title needs to be relocated above the structure detail in sheet D1.
Yeah, these are always
Yeah, because the title is down, floating at the bottom.
But maybe I missed that one. So this is a detail sheet.
You get a title down at the bottom of the page with no diagram associated with it for the stone check dam.
This is the stone check dam. This is the grass line swale. Or grass swale.
Oh, well then, can you put the titles over the items? I know, because I was looking at it going, this is not the swale. So, and that's why I said move the check dam.
I'll separate them.
Or if you could put the title above them.
No, because those are my details. I'm not changing my detail. I'll pull it away. I'll put a box around
Separate
it.
them so that it's clear that,
Okay.
because I don't know, you
You put your titles below, don't you?
I used to always like to do the box style.
Yeah, the box. I'll make it clear. I'll
something
guarantee
that's
you'll
like
be
usually
happy.
left justified with a longer line or something
Yeah,
that's clear
yeah,
that it
it's-
relates to the item above, but it was not necessarily.
Okay, it'll be clear.
I don't know. I was looking, going, wait a second.
Okay, and you get the new impact fee. I will revise. You had a question mark on it before. I'll revise it to the 106.
Yeah, those should be on the website, but I'm not sure. They may not be. Thought we had them posted at one point.
I was gonna call Joan, but then I figured
Joan has them.
it would be a good comment for somebody. LMRLAC, I've emailed them, should hear from them soon. Fire chief, we didn't have any comments from police chief or Kevin Lynch, to my knowledge.
Correct. The impact fee schedule is on the planning board's website,
Okay.
but it's detailed in the note as well now.
108 grand, 8,400.
Okay, so what we have so far, we have the drainage calculations. I'm just gonna go back and review what we're doing here. So we need the drainage calculations, make sure that they're adequate. The landscape plan, meeting with the fire chief. Showing the sliding windows, draw something up. Adequate snow storage. Let's see, the,
Waiver from deed.
A waiver from the roof issue. The roof issue is how I noted it. What's the?
Okay.
So create a waiver, or request a waiver.
Jen, would that be appropriate?
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine.
Maybe do roof line and orientation together.
Roof line and orientation.
They're all the same general section of the
Okay.
regulation.
And also the waiver for the deed.
Yeah, 155.91.
Yeah. And what we just discussed, the edits to the plan notes. That's what we have. Is there anything else that the board would like to address? Yes. please.
I'm not sure if it's applicable here, but that building, the new building with the one door, what are the lighting that you have there?
Good
I
question.
know your hours of operations are listed here, but Could be dark some parts of the year.
Oh, as far as, so lighting,
Yeah, do you have a, I don't see a pole there, but I mean,
yeah, I
If-
think,
turned off
if
at
I-
night or
Maybe a building light to shine down over the door,
motion?
something like that, yeah. I know that we're concerned about light pollution, so.
I think how we handled it last time is we had that all lighting shall comply with the Litchfield
Just more safety,
requirements.
Right.
because nobody should be back there, but.
Well, that'll go to the building codes when we build it with Kevin and whatever is required. Of course, that's what we'll do.
My question, when did the 65-day clock start?
Starts tonight, because you accepted it tonight.
Tonight.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
If there's nothing from anybody else.
On Lou's comments, I mean, I circled a few as you guys went through them, and discussed them, that I thought were like the ones that were, still had some follow-up, or kind of plan revisions associated with them. So I don't know if you want to go through those and just confirm the edits that are gonna be made there.
Sure, sure.
So the plan note 14.
Yep,
Yep.
I'll revise that.
That's okay.
Plan note 18, I'll revise that.
Okay.
Well, actually,
Oh,
that
no,
one,
that was just a
that one you
question.
clarified,
No, that was a-
so
yeah,
that
that was
was,
a
that one's
clarification.
clarified, so that one's all set, so
Done.
nothing needs to happen there.
So I had done the now please complete existing 105 contour on the southeast, not east, corner of the new building. I had drawn 1 foot contours because we were dealing with the swale before. Are you all right if I just eliminate the 105, or you want to see 1 foot?
No, I think you ought to keep it on there. It's
Yeah.
a good idea.
I mean, the rest is 1 foot.
No, well, it's a mishmash. It's the back half is 1 foot. That's 2 foot. Okay, I'll extend it. No problem. There is construction note which lists 14 foot wide. Oh, that's add the word gravel. No problem. Also, this gravel drive does not go around the building, so he didn't like it would be helpful some sort of graphic fill pattern. I can do something with that, sure. The finished floor listed at 105.8. We're going to have high foundation walls, so there's no further action for that one. Correct?
Yep.
There is a note on the plan prohibiting parking. Oh, here's the requiring. How about the signs? Do you guys want me to add signs for no parking?
Or will the shrubs suffice?
I
With
think
the
the
shrubs.
shrubs suffice.
Yeah, I agree with this.
Okay, so no action required. Construction detail for stone check dam. So show 1, I will do that. At the end of the existing swell, there's a heavy dashed line. Oh, that's the. I'll change the line type or do something to adjust that. Please specify the grass type and application rate for the use in the grass swale. Oh boy.
Just, you can refer to NHDOT item numbers if you want to.
Because we did 100% fescue. It is noted on the one that's 100% fescue, but it's not on the on sheet. Yeah, grass seed mixture shall be 100% fescue. Note number 3 under the landscape notes. Is that acceptable for that one portion of it?
I think,
Yeah, I would specify grass type.
Yeah, right. And
I think the goal in 2014 was to minimize the need for fertilizer and proximity to the brook.
right, but I imagine that they're going to hydroseed this, which is a combination of mulch, fertilizer, and seed.
Right.
That's what we did last time. so.
Yeah, and it
Minimize.
works great.
Not eliminate,
Yeah.
minimize.
All right, but if I have to explain, I don't even, I'm not a fertilizer guy. They whip this up into batches and throw in 25 pounds per. But I'll look that up. Or New Hampshire DOT is a good
Always a good reference.
standard. Stormwater management and drainage calculations. So I will provide a 25 and 50 year storm event to determine the swale's capacity. So I think I've got that. Thank you.
Does anybody have anything else that they'd like to add? Okay, I think what we're gonna do, we're gonna give you the opportunity to kind of go through what we went through tonight and kind of clean things up a little bit in terms of, you know, getting everything that you need. And addressing these issues that we talked about. And what we're gonna do is, I think if it's the board's, if it's okay with the board, obviously, we can continue this hearing to a date certain.
Does the board not feel it has enough information to vote on some of the other waivers, such as the traffic pattern on site that I've requested a waiver for?
Yeah, I think what,
Traffic impact analysis,
I think we discussed our intents with those, and I would rather do it all at once when we do.
yeah, so I think what we
Final
wanna
approval.
do is, once we get everything together, at the next meeting, we'll go through the waivers and we'll review them and make sure that everything's in good shape. Let's make sure everything's in good shape first, and then we'll go through all the waivers, and then we'll put on the conditional approvals if needed at that point. So I think
we answered all the waivers.
Yeah, okay,
So you
okay.
Yeah,
know
I
the
think-
intent at this time.
all we're trying to do is just clean it up and make sure that everything's accounted for, and that we have everything that we need, so that when we go through this, we go through it, and we have everything.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yes.
I make a motion that we move this to December 5th.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
December
I
5th.
second that motion.
Second.
Dave's second.
I have a comment as well. Tobin, is a month adequate for you?
Yes.
That would be fine. Okay.
Is December 5th is a Tuesday?
Yes.
I have a other planning board meeting on December 5th. I've already committed to. Is it any other day?
When's our
Well,
next planning board?
The only thing is that there's the 65-day clock, so we want to get it in within that time frame.
Unless you wanna go to January.
I don't, but I cannot be split in half. You can't do any other night? You can have time to notice.
So the thing is, the second meeting of the month is typically workshop, which is working
Yeah.
on the master plan.
And we have a subcommittee coming in.
Yeah, so that's not
We already have.
that's not gonna work.
And I don't know that the second meeting in December would even happen, but that's up to them as well.
When's the second meeting in December?
19th.
December 19th?
Yeah, that's when I have it.
Pretty please?
Well, it's up to, I mean, what does the board feel? I mean, I know that we
That's-
have
That's
our workshop, our work session
Give
is
them enough
usually on the
notice, so, I
third.
mean, that's,
Yeah,
But-
December 19th.
If we provide enough opportunity to
We could give the subcommittee a month off.
a month
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine.
Well, if everyone's in agreement with that, and does that work for you?
That works for us.
That works for you, okay.
I would like to make an amendment to my motion to make it December 19th.
There's a motion on the table.
Amendment to motion.
The amended motion is on the table. Is there a second?
second.
Now you vote on the amendment, and then you vote on the whole motion.
Okay. This is voting on the amended motion to schedule the next hearing for this review on the 19th of December.
Can we roll call vote?
Tyler Perrin approve?
Kim, approve?
Joe Blanchard approve,
Mike Croto, approve.
Steve Perry, approve.
and then we have to move the amendment. And then
Dave Samuel, yes.
Yeah, he's there. Yes, okay, good.
From California.
Motion passes 6-0-0. Okay.
If we could get any of the plan revisions at least a full week before.
Right.
And you need them in paper or as a PDF?
Paper, please. Sorry.
I'll try and get them to you the December 5th, so you'll have the 2 weeks.
That would be great to have more time. I mean, the regulation says a minimum
To
of
me, I can
7.
get those out.
So,
Save you time. Just PDF it to me and I can get out to them.
All right.
and I guess I would say we'd love to have the fire chief's the meeting with the fire chief happen at least a week before. So when you send the revised stuff, we have any comments that they have incorporated into those revisions.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. So I guess that would, that means meeting with them sooner than later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be fantastic. Thank you.
We'll do.
Okay, so we did the amended motion, now we have the original motion
Well,
table.
The die.
Same thing, though.
Now it's the
Oh, yeah.
motion.
We did the amendment, and now we have to approve
You
the motion.
continued.
What's that?
You made the motion to continue to the 19th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
You voted.
why are
Well,
we?
he made a motion to
fifth.
continue to the
I
5th.
amended it to the 19th. We've approved the
Approved the
amendment.
amendment.
We have not approved the motion.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we have to do a roll call
Never mind.
vote for the motion itself.
So,
Gotcha.
on the original motion, do I have a second?
A
We
second.
already did.
Yeah, we already did this. It's
Okay,
already
so
taken
roll
care of.
call.
Tyler Perrin, approve.
Kimberly Queen approved.
Joe Blanchard approved.
Mike Proto approves.
Very approved.
Wait, what happened to discussion? This is the
Say yes.
original motion.
You cannot approve it. That's fine. It will still
It's an
pass.
amended motion that you're voting on now.
Yeah. We voted on the amendment, now we're voting on the motion.
But the
Roll
motion
call,
was
sing
for
it.
December 5th, right?
Originally, and then it was amended to the 19th.
You
You
voted
approved.
to amend it.
Right.
Now
So
you're
wait a minute.
voting to approve the amended motion, if that makes sense. There you go.
Where we just voted to approve the amended motion. I'll abstain.
Okay.
Motion passes.
Abstain.
Motion passes anyway.
He's a rebel.
Abstain.
5-0-1.
Due to confusion.
Yeah, right.
Needless to say, we
All
will
right.
be continuing this on the 19th of December. So that's the date that's the important one. So.
Chairman, members of the board, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for coming in and thank you for providing us the information, and we'll see you on the 19th of December.
Oh, can you believe the 19th of December? It's almost the end of the year.
It is.
Scary.
Just the other day, I was looking at an appointment card that I had, and it said 11/17.
Rush that in.
I'm like, it's not November already. And then I looked at the calendar, I'm like, wow, that went fast.
That was the big race, right?
New Jersey is the other
So it's just governor.
Come on, everybody loves my
The
folding.
midterms for this.
Yes.
I gotta get me one of those.
We shall see.
This is the same document as it was last time.
There's some few changes in red with Troy's input, but the overall was
Yes. Have a
Have a
good
great
night.
night.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Lou.
Thank you.
Oh, God. Very good. I like that one.
Time.
It's better than my friends made up.
It's good,
That one,
but
yeah.
I can't believe how that could happen. But then again, we already have almost half of next year booked. It's unbelievable.
You still have a few more months left.
Yep.
What do you do?
I work for a machine shop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mostly government projects.
I won't ask.
Good business.
Thank you, Mr. Karen. Have a good night.
I
Have a
said
good night.
crush and not collapse.
Okay, since the sign
Well, can I address that sign? I don't
issue
know.
they didn't come in, or they?
I didn't know if they knew they had to come in. I
Okay.
didn't ever talk to anybody about it, but it's pretty straightforward. The
Typically, don't they?
usually they do.
A new sign?
The location was on the site plan. And so they submitted the color color,
Maybe
Format.
maybe notify them, you know, that if they want to come in for.
when?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, did it get noticed as a hearing?
No, I noticed on the sign.
Oh, it's a public hearing, right? So it should have gotten noticed.
I believe so.
Okay, well,
I think only if it's lit.
Check the zoning.
Okay.
yeah.
But, I mean, it should be a 2-seconder,
It should be what?
a 2-second review.
Right.
All right, on to next topic on the agenda tonight is the demolition review. And I know that, Kim, you're sort of, want to provide us with some information on that?
Sure, why don't you click on the flow chart, and then the zoning ordinance pretty much ties to it. And in the flow chart, when you get there, if you go to the second page, any items in red are what we added from Troy Brown, the town administrator's input. Everybody's there.
Okay.
Okay. Troy suggested the structure greater than 500 square feet and the buildings built prior to 1960. He was concerned about the 500 square feet limitation, but nobody got back to us, so we're going to leave it at 500 square feet. But we did change it from anything greater than 50 years old to anything built prior to 1960. He added a check and balance. He wanted the fire department and the the code enforcement officer, rather, to both come to a decision on whether the structure was deemed safe or not. He wanted not for the process to always be bypassed by everybody just saying unsafe, unsafe, unsafe. So it had to be a check and balance there. We added the word culturally significant as well as historically and architecturally. We added, now we have two cases. We either have the case, well, we have three. We have the case where it's not historically significant. It just followed the path to demolition application approved like before. We have a case one where it was significant and it was unsafe. So if the building is unsafe, we still would like the Heritage Commission to be able to ask to take pictures before, you know, it gets demolished. Our case two we had before, this whole process is pretty much the same, was it is significant, it is safe, so now we start the process of first public notice is the sign that goes on the property. We added that it has to be visible from the road. The second notice to the public is the Heritage Commission will place the ad in the paper, that's all stayed the same. The meeting stays the same, the area in gray. We did add a note that the Heritage Commission, even though it's running the meeting, can only make a non-binding recommendation only. It really can't say yes or no. It's up to the person who owns the building. And the public has no vote. It's just, again, everybody's getting together to discuss the building. The same scenarios, the 4 scenario outcomes are at the bottom. They did not change, and neither did anything else on the drawing. The timelines were flipped only for the top 2. You'll see the 3 days and the 5 days at the top right flipped. Based on Troy, we did talk with Kevin Lynch. He believed the 3 days was enough time for him to determine the square footage and talk to the fire department and pass it to the Heritage Commission. And we extended the Heritage Commission from 3 days to 5 days. We just switched the 3 and the 5.
Okay.
Any questions on
Anybody
the
have any questions?
So just small things,
Mm-hmm.
Kim, an output arrow from your BICEO and fire department is the structure deemed safe.
Yep.
So otherwise that flow just terminates there.
No, it's
And
good.
an input arrow into your case one,
Mm-hmm.
yes, and structure deemed unsafe.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, it's great.
Do you want to add the arrow?
It kind of runs diagonally back, straight down to,
Yeah. All right, we'll work on that. Yep. Really, it was the question had to be asked, and then, you know, we'd wait for the reply to come in. Yeah, within that 5 days. Okay, I'll talk with Jen about that. All right, and then the second one is the actual zoning ordinance. We put to words what you see on that flow chart. We added David, you had some calendar days versus business days, requirements from before. They're in here now.
Yeah, so thank you.
Now, what's going on? Is there a move in front to have a Heritage Commission, or is this just?
Yeah, the
Something-
linchpins, we have a Heritage Commission, which we don't have today.
Yeah.
I would guess if this passes, I'll go in front of the Board of Selectmen to ask to create a Heritage Commission.
I see.
I think the thought is to put 2 warrant articles forward in March. One would be, so if this looks good to you all, Kim's plan is to go meet with the selectmen and present and request a warrant article or request that the selectmen sponsor a warrant article to establish the Heritage Commission. The planning board's warrant article for the demolition review ordinance, you've got the email from town council on the Google site. That warrant article for the demolition review ordinance would include a clause that says that this article is contingent upon an affirmative vote on article, whatever the Heritage Commission is, which establishes a Heritage Commission. Should article Heritage Commission fail, this article will be null and void. The other piece of it is to allow a delay for the demolition review ordinance to go into effect, to allow the Heritage Commission to get set up. And so that's something that you could also incorporate into the demolition review warrant article for the ordinance, and that would simply have something that says this ordinance shall take effect on, pick your date. So, way to kind of contingently link the 2 warrant articles. They go forward to the ballot. If the ordinance looks okay, it needs to get bundled with the others that will need a hearing in December.
I mean, this all looks good to me. We've been working on this for a while, so
Since April.
yeah. So
Are you going to need a motion to recommend that this be brought before the Board of Selectmen? Because you're going before the Board of Selectmen,
I'm
right?
not sure. Well, we need to see if we can approve it at the planning board level first, or I
Well-
can't go in front of the Board of Selectmen. if this
Again,
doesn't pass.
clarify. We're not approving it because it's zoning ordinance language. So so there's the 2 separate pieces, right? You get the Heritage Commission piece, which actually has to come out of the selectmen. So I don't know if you need a motion to say, hey, Kim, go to the selectmen and request that they do this, or a consensus directive. Bottom line, the selectmen can do it whether they want to or not, and whether the planning board wants them to or not. The ordinance, though, would proceed as a standard zoning ordinance. So again, you guys would, when you're comfortable with the language, you would vote to send it to public hearing.
I mean, I'm comfortable with that.
And I would just say that the red lines on the ordinance language itself as well, those are just changes since the last time you saw the draft. So the version that would go to a public hearing would lose the red lines.
It can just be those lines.
Hmm.
Just become those lines. Absorb them into its
Yeah.
creative stuff. I mean, I like it.
Everyone else feel comfortable? Like it? Not like it?
I think it's a great idea.
Fantastic.
So, with that said, do we want to send this to public hearing? And if we do, then we're going to need a motion.
Make a motion to send this to public hearing.
I have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
Discussion?
What's the date that you're sending it to public hearing?
Have we set a hearing date?
The next public hearing.
did, but I don't know what it was.
Because you should be making the motion for the date.
Oh, we picked a date. Oh, no, previous. All right, hold on. You did. The last time sent to hearing, December 5th. Hearing December 5th. Yes.
So we have a hearing on the 10th.
You have a hearing on December 5th. Oh. So let's get these things posted.
So,
Did you amend your motion to say December 5th? Is that what you did?
Just withdraw your
Didn't
motion and
finish.
start over.
I withdraw my motion.
All right, so is there a new motion?
I make a motion to send this to public hearing on December 5th.
Do I have a second?
Roll call.
Clerk?
Tyler Perrin, approved.
Bill Mashat, approve.
Mike Proto approve.
I will approve as well. Steve Perry.
Motion passes.
Oh, wait.
Wait, Dave?
Sorry.
Are we sending the demolition review
fell
ordinance to
asleep
public
there.
hearing?
Oh, fell asleep.
There's a motion to send this.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, another one over there.
Oh,
All right, motion passes 6-0-0.
Do we need a motion for the date?
Steve, would you want her to, the board to make a motion to request
No.
the Heritage Commission?
I already put the request in with the selectmen, and the chairman said that he thinks that it'll be fine.
Okay. So the chairman of the selectmen has already requested planning board representation at a meeting. Or
Sure.
something to that effect.
Yes,
There you go.
on November 27th.
There you go.
All righty, moving along. Committee reports. Anything anyone want to report? I'll just say the Conservation Commission is meeting this Thursday, November 9th at 7 p.m. in this room. Anything else? Okay. Moving on. Approval of the October 17th, 2017 minutes. And does everyone have a copy of the minutes for October 17th, 2017?
I have some changes.
Okay.
I have my notes
Oh,
on that one.
sorry.
Sorry, that's okay. We were sharing a copy. On page 2, where it said Kim had inserted some images of businesses for 20 years out. I'm just gonna say 20 to 30 years out instead of 20.
Okay.
And then I have just one more, if that's okay, if everyone agrees. 2 paragraphs above it, when they were talking about Richard Riley, spoke out about the former survey, about the planning board. He said that the survey, the townspeople said that they wanted and didn't want. And then and I'm just reading what's there. And then Jen said it was a starting point. I would like to add, after this paragraph here, a sentence to this paragraph about Mike had also added a comment during that time, that past survey was to help with the zoning districts. Remember they were getting upset about us
Yeah.
planning a building right on Route 3A, where
Yeah.
we said it would be in the commercial districts.
Yeah.
And he was,
Did my dad do that survey? I think he was the chairman of the board, and he was like, "Yeah, that was not the purpose. It wasn't to let everybody. The purpose was to do the zones, not to do the."
So you want to add to,
I wanted
To
to
add
add
zoning
something
districts?
that Mike, here had commented, Richard Riley, that that survey that he was referring to
Was to add,
was to help with the zoning
The zoning
districts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
helps define,
Yeah.
All maps, whatever you want to.
Yep.
helps define zoning districts.
So when I said, that 3, 4, 5 glass-story building and everybody got upset, I meant for it to be in the
Exactly,
zoning.
the commercial
zone
districts, which have already been approved to have stuff like that.
If that's okay with you.
No, yeah. Okay, anybody have anything else? All right, I entertain a motion to accept the minutes as amended for October 17th, 2017.
I will make a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Madam Clerk, roll call.
All for minutes.
Tyler Parent, approve.
Kimberly Queenan, approve.
Joe Blanchett, approve.
Michael Frodo, approve.
Steve Perry abstain.
Dave Samuel, approve.
Motion passes 5-0-1. And I just realized, double-sided, I don't know. Any other business is at the top of the, on the back of my page. Okay, any other business to come before the board this evening? Jen, do you have anything?
I believe this board needs to consider appointing a new chairman.
Yes. I was thinking of doing that at the next meeting, only out of, reverence to Tom for tonight.
That is perfectly fine.
Is that fine?
I just wanted to make sure that it was.
Absolutely, we're on top of that, no, we understand. But I think under the circumstances, we're just gonna put that aside until the next meeting, if that's okay.
Fair enough. I know and in a similar vein, I know you were looking for an alternate. You now have a full vacancy on the board as well. So you're 6 members right now. 7 is complete. I think it's perfectly fine to start with an alternate, if you wanted to start with an alternate, that can get called up to be a voting member, or however you want to proceed.
So we're gonna need a new chair,
New chair.
new vice chair, and we have a,
Well, you're currently the vice chair.
You're right. I mean,
right, but if,
Are you
what
throwing
if I am the vice chair, so if you decide
fair enough.
to be the chair,
We're gonna
Then you're gonna need-
in some
We will need to,
possible.
we will
I
need
don't
to
know. I'm not
open up
saying that.
the, yes, we
I-
will need to open up the discussion and
right, that has to be
vote on
before the
officer
decision of the
positions.
board, I understand that.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, that's something to think about for next time, so we'll do that.
I also have one more thing.
Yes.
Everybody knows my situation, that I'm not supposed to be here, but I was able to make arrangements tonight. I have, selectmen have arranged coverage, so you will have Kurt Schaefer for the second meeting of this month.
Okay.
You will have Brent Lemire for the month of December,
Okay.
and you should have Kevin Bork for the month of January.
Okay.
Okay?
So Brent is December.
And Kevin Bork should
Kevin
be.
Bork.
Kevin will be back
January.
in January. I don't know Kurt.
Kurt's the newest selectman this year.
Okay. Are you still technically the ex officio?
Yes, I am technically there filling
Okay.
in for me.
Gotcha.
If
So
something,
to that end, can I also make an addition here that on our site we have Steve Perry down as term expires at town meeting 2016, and we still have Tyler and Joe both listed as alternates. Perhaps we can update that.
Get that updated. You know what, actually, I sent John some other updates to correct the master plan link, and I don't know if they're done. No. So,
so what I'll do is I will send a note to Troy so that he can get with John and they can update the site. John will update the site, it's just that Troy can verify the expiration dates.
yep. Okay.
Thank you.
I have one other issue. And I'm not sure how this works, I'm gonna ask Jen. The NRPC commissioners are usually 2 planning board members. We need to have a second one.
Yeah, so
I'm not sure.
the
if they have to be
selectmen,
planning board.
right, no, again, in the same vein, and that's actually a very important thing, to also bring up. So Tom is not only a commissioner, he's an executive committee member at NRPC. Towns don't appoint executive committee members, the commissioners choose amongst themselves. So that's not a problem, but, the town does now also have a vacant, seat at the NRPC commission. Kim is there. So that's a selectman appointment, but I'm trying to recall, I mean, Kim and Mike, you were the more recent designees. Were you recommended by the planning board to the selectmen, and then the selectmen made the
I believe
appointment?
that was, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
We just redid yours, didn't we?
That was the Lower Merrimack.
Okay.
Yeah.
there you go. So, yeah. Tom did a lot of work.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do we have anything out that says, like, I don't know, if we put stuff out in the newspaper that says we have an opening for this board? As in-
We put it on the,
You can request it to go on the signs
The
out
reader
front.
board. That's what Joan's done in the past, and
Yeah?
we got a few.
put it on the What's Up page, but that scrolls down so fast that we didn't get
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
But I'll ask Donna to put it on the reader board.
I became a planning board member because it was put on the sign out front before that sign was even up.
Really?
Does anybody have anything else? Joan, do we have anything?
Nope.
No? Okay. Well, thank you all. I guess I'm gonna entertain a motion to, if there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn, this meeting. Do I have a motion, said motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
To adjourn, okay. Roll call. Tyler, Kim, approve.
Joe Blanchett approved.
Mike Croto approved.
Steve Perry approved.
That concludes